what we're going to be doing in this first week is establishing your vision, figuring out who you are, and clarify your client avatar. So just like what you said, you think of that blue person. Well, in the context of the movie Avatar, it's like, that's like the personification of like the guy's like mental state, right? And he like goes and kind of lives inside of this one body, right? So you can think of your avatar as, if you boiled down your whole target audience of all the people that you want to reach with your content, and we're going to get more in depth with this as we go. But if you boiled that whole target audience down to one single person, that's your avatar. So you can think of your avatar as like the culmination of your whole target audience in one person. And so when you're creating content, you literally want to create content for that avatar, for that one person. That's going to personalize your content. And if you've ever had the experience on TikTok or wherever, where you watch a video and you feel like they're talking directly to you, you are probably that person's avatar. And we'll talk more about that as we go, but that's a good question. So hopefully that's clear. Does anybody have any other questions before we kick off, or any questions about what an avatar is, or any other kind of jargony words that need definition?
No, I'm good.
So this is kind of just what you can expect from week 1 of the boot camp. We're going to be setting goals and outcomes for the next 4 weeks. And we're going to be helping you establish your vision for yourself. So clarifying who you are currently, like current state you, and who you want to become on this journey. And not just this journey during the boot camp, but on this journey of entrepreneurship. We're going to be doing personality type self-awareness, which is self-awareness is kind of a theme that will keep coming up, but identifying kind of the traits about you that make you, is going to be pretty critical to this week. We're going to be creating your brand mission statement. And we'll talk about why you need one and why that's important in just a little bit. We're going to be helping you determine the client avatar that you serve or help. Again, that's just the personification, boiling down that target audience to one single person that you want to help and serve. Clarifying your niche. So your niche is like the subset of the market that you want to work with and you want to serve. And so we're going to help you clarify what your niche is. And then we're going to talk about market research, and also how to find products and services that solve the problem, like, or solve problems of your target audience, but also align with your brand and your values and who you are. So kind of figuring out your authentic self, how to present that authentic self and this journey that you're on, and creating content and promoting products that line up with that person. So I hope that makes sense. Alrighty. You're also going to be setting some SMART goals for the boot camp. And if you guys are not familiar with what a SMART goal is, this is your homework. And I'm going to make all of this, these slides available in the Google Drive at the end of this call. So you'll have access to them and can work on this homework or this assignment. But a SMART goal. So here's an example of what not a SMART goal. I want to get in better shape. That's not a SMART goal. Well, a SMART goal is specific. So what is better shape? Like, how do you quantify that? How do you define that? I want to get in better shape through running. Okay, that's more specific. Something measurable, get in better shape. I want to be able to run a 7-minute mile and weigh 150 pounds. That is measurable. Achievable. So if you are currently running a 12-minute mile, achievable would maybe be a 10-minute mile and not like breaking a 4-minute mile, you know? Achievable and realistic. So that achievable is something that you can actually do and know that you have done. Realistic is, again, something that you can actually accomplish. And timely means by the end of this month, I want to be able to bench press 150 pounds, something like that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Thank you, doll. And you'll get more clarity when you open this document. This is linked to, I'm actually going to stop sharing real quick because I need to reshare my whole screen. But if I open this up, this is going to give you kind of more clarity on the goals that you have for the boot camp and how to tell if it's a SMART goal and more information with that. So if it doesn't make perfect sense at this particular time, don't worry about it too much. All right. So let's talk about why you should build a personal brand. First and foremost, it's the best way to build a long-term sustainable business, period. in my opinion, everything else besides building a personal brand and then finding products or creating products or services around that brand that are in line with who you are is just a gimmick. And maybe that's a bold statement that will ruffle some feathers, but capitalizing on really trending viral types of content that get a lot of eyes on your content is not a long-term sustainable solution. And we'll talk more about why that is down like further on through these slides. Also, you get to identify as your authentic self and not the product that you're promoting. Meaning, I am Barb McGowan. Like, this is like my whole holistic self. I have all these different, facets to me, personality traits, likes and dislikes. And I'm on my personal journey, and I'm not just the product that I'm promoting. So you'll hear me use the words like product pusher. That's kind of how I differentiate those that build a personal brand versus those who are just there to talk about a product, its features, its benefits, and get people to click the link in their bio and buy this thing, versus identifying as your authentic self and showing up in your content as just who you are. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. You just get to be you. So if that makes you like breathe a sigh of relief and feel like a weight is lifted off of you, it should, because you get to just be you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, like I always say, you don't have to be that blonde model Instagram influencer standing in front of a Lamborghini. That will never be me. And that will never be you guys either, but that's okay, because people don't want to see that. They want to see real humans. Kind of in line with that, your audience will be able to know, like, and trust you. And people will buy from people, like emphasis on the people, not businesses, but people that they know, like, and trust. Think of why you're here. It's probably because you know, like, and trust me. If I would have just been dancing around showing my bank account and saying, hey, come to my boot camp and click the link in my bio, it probably would have given a different impression and a different message than the way that we actually connected and talked about you joining the boot camp. Does that make sense? You get to build an audience of raving fans. And I don't mean that in the sense that you get to like have this huge ego boost. You get to connect human to human with other people who are going to resonate with your message and who you are so hard that they won't buy from anyone else just by virtue of liking and connecting with you. And that's really powerful. You have the ability to sell or promote whatever you want, including your own products or services. So going back to the idea of building a personal brand versus being a product pusher, if you are what I call a product pusher, meaning you just identify as the product that you're promoting, rather than telling people who you are, what you're about, who you're here to help, and how you will help them, product pushers don't get to deviate away from the product they're promoting. They've built their whole identity around that product. And the minute they deviate away from that, it like completely throws off the congruency of everything that they've been doing up until that point. So if you're a product pusher, meaning that your whole identity is wrapped up in the single primary front end product that you are promoting, you're not going to be able to come up with your own coaching program in a year, because people only associate you with viral side hustle videos or legendary marketer or whatever that product is that you are promoting, and to the exclusion of who you are. And my favorite reason for building a personal brand is we're already building one, whether we like it or whether we know it or not. Meaning we are being judged and perceived by the people watching our content. We're being judged and perceived by our target audience and those, out there on TikTok or whatever platform. And they're forming opinions of us based on how our content comes across to them. And so we want to build our personal brand with deliberation and intention rather than copycatting what other folks are doing, rather than just talking about the products that we're promoting, because it's going to be a qualitative difference between letting people into our lives and sharing who we are and just coming off as this kind of superficial person that has this facade up and we don't really get to know them. So I'm glad you are all here intentionally and deliberately building your own brand. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff before we move on?
Nope. I'm good here.
Cool. I love the feedback. See, this is the benefit of working with adults over kids. Adults give feedback. The kids are just like,
So true.
yeah, Alrighty. So raise your hand if you're familiar with the book or the TED Talk, Start With Why. It's by Simon Sinek. Paulette. So Nigel, yeah. I think we were talking about this, weren't we? Sorry, I can't see everyone's hand, but and we'll be talking more about specifically Simon Sinek and Start With Why. He has a book. It's by that title. He also has a TED Talk on YouTube. I highly suggest that you go watch his TED Talk. It will have an impact on you. But this target represents kind of the layers of who we are and what we do. So on the outside, we have what and how, meaning I'm an affiliate marketer and I promote products on TikTok. That's the what and the how. And if you think of this target as like our brain, so on the outside, the outside part of our brain is the newest part of our brain. And that's like the part of our brain that uses language. And that's the part of our brain that's like the newest to humans. On the inside, like really deep down in our brain is the limbic system. That's the emotional part of our brains. That goes back to our ancestors that lived in caves and, hunted woolly mammoths with spears. And so the what we do and the how we do it, again, that would be like I promote affiliate products by creating content on TikTok. That speaks to the rational analytical, that outside part of our brains called the neocortex, for those who are interested, that uses language to communicate. And so how that differs from the why we do things. So I'm an affiliate marketer and I promote products on TikTok, but why I do it, that could be a whole boot camp in and of itself. But I do it to have financial freedom. I do it to have time freedom. I do it because I feel like I was put on this earth for way more than just working a 9-to-5 job and being an automaton or a cog in this machine that is meaningless and is going to leave me feeling like an empty shell of a person at the end of my life. I do it because the people I care about most are my family, and it keeps me up at night to know that they are stressed or to feel like they're going without because they are not financially stable. And another reason why is I don't want to be like my dad. My dad was not present in our lives growing up because he was always away trying to, quote, provide for his family, taking bigger and better paying jobs further and further and further away. And so now we don't have a relationship with him, me, my brother and sister. And I don't have kids, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that family member that sends guilt money for Christmas and birthdays because I can't be there. And so if we're really getting deep, that's some of the core reasons of why I am here, why I'm here on TikTok, why I'm here on this earth. And so that inner part, that why part of us that drives us and motivates us that we have inside, that's the emotional component of why we're doing what we're doing. And has anyone ever had the experience where you didn't like someone, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? You didn't trust someone, you couldn't quite put words to it. Sheila's like, heck yes. Yeah, most of you guys probably have had that experience. So that's because that limbic part of our brain, the emotional part of our brain is saying, alert, alert, we don't trust this person, or this is a red flag, but we don't have language in that part of our brain. And so we just say, I can't quite put my finger on it, but something doesn't feel right. So that's like the feeling part of us. And people make buying decisions based on feelings, believe it or not. And you probably know this too. When people want to buy something, they do it on an emotional level. And then they use the rational analytical part of their brains to justify that purchase, to justify why they need that thing or why they invested in this or that. So we actually make buying decisions because of the why, like that emotional component, that emotional connection with whatever product or whatever person. And then we rationalize it after the fact. And so keeping in line with that understanding of why people buy, if people respond to why you do what you do, if your target audience responds to why you're here on this earth, why you're here on TikTok, and you can't even articulate, you can't put to words why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to buy something from you? How will you ever get people to know, like, and trust you if you can't even articulate yourself why you're here, why they should care, why they should trust you, why they should believe you? And I'll leave you with this, and then we will move on. People don't buy what you do. They don't buy how you do it. People don't buy things from me because I'm an affiliate marketer or I'm on TikTok. That's the what and the how. They buy why I do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about that? Is anything unclear before we move on?
No questions.
All right, cool. All right. This is one of my favorite exercises to do. And I'll just give a little, I don't want to make this whole thing about me. I'll just give a little 10-second, I guess, recap. I've done these exercises before, and every time I've done them, I can so crystal clear, like clearly see my future and the outcomes and where I want things to go. And I'm not saying down to dotted I and the cross T where I want my business to be. I'm not asking you to write a business plan in the next 60 seconds, but think about in 6 months, and I'll start a timer in 6 months and get as specific as you would like, or leave it as general as you would like. But I would recommend that you get specific as you are comfortable doing. In 6 months. So what is this? January. So that is, it's going to be July 4th. What does your business look like? What do you look like? Not physically, maybe physically, but what do you look like as a person? Who are you helping? What problem are you solving? And how much money is your business making? And I would encourage you to think bigger. So I'll put a minute on the timer and go ahead and start writing. Ten seconds. Alrighty, time is up. Let's see. Who would be willing to share? Carol, are you willing to share?
So I didn't get much, but what does my business look like? I don't know, successful and growing, helping people thrive in their business. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go, but that's what I put. What do I look like? Would I have long hair? Because I'm not trying to cut my hair. I'm tempted to cut it, but I'm like, no. So I'll have long hair. Who am I helping? I want to help, I guess, more of like single parents, because I know the struggles of being a single parent and not having babysitters or, daycare or anything like that to help you with your kids. So helping single parents. What problem am I solving? Financial and time freedom, to be able to do and go anywhere that you please without thinking or worrying about your financial situation or time, if that makes sense. How much money is my business? I weigh $15 a month and growing. $15,000 a month and growing. Heck yes.
I like it.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So we're going to move on. So now we're going to do the same thing, putting a minute on the clock, this time a year from now. So January of 2023, same questions, ready to go. Ten seconds. Alrighty, time is up.
Stop.
Nigel, do you care to share with us?
Yeah, sure. In the minute, I didn't get down all 5, but what I put down was I've handed in my notice at work. Me personally, I'm way more relaxed. And in how much money is your business making, I put 3 times my current salary.
I love it.
That's what I wrote down in the minute that we had.
Yeah, I love it. I like that you are thinking about your emotional state and wanting to be more relaxed because you're not having to deal with your I would say day job, but
Yeah.
Alrighty. And we're going to do this one more time. This one is 5 years from now. So don't think of it as 2027. Take whatever age you're at now and add 5 years and think of it at that point. Same questions. Ready? Go. All right, 10 seconds. Alrighty, time is up. How about Leslie? Would you be willing to share? I see you over there scribbling furiously.
I know, I'm trying.
Down to the wire.
I really hadn't thought about it until we did this, but in 5 years, I would like to have a brand of my own that is recognizable. I mean, strictly by my name. And, you know, I actually follow someone that she started off as a furniture painter.
Hmm.
And that's back in my days when I thought I was grabbing stuff off the road and painting furniture was a good idea. But now she's developed into something totally different. And it's amazing to watch her, how she did that. And I put, you know, just because that's the phase that I'm at in life, that I would love to be like a leader in women's health, specifically women going through menopause and those kinds of things. And, you know, even today I went and had a doctor's appointment for a sleep study because I didn't know that I snored at night and have an issue with that. But, you know, there's things that happen later in life and you're like, how did I get here? And okay, well, that explains all those symptoms. And there's not really a whole lot of resources out there, you know, for women to expect to know how to even go about fixing those things. And, you know, I would like to create a multitude of digital products even around that, resources that people can, and then go even deeper into like my love of cooking. You know, there's anti-inflammatory diets and ways that you can, you know, just there's so many things you can do. I don't know how to package all of that, but I would love to be in that space and kind of be known for that. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse or anything like that. So I'm sure you'd have to just have that disclaimed all over the place. But yeah, that's kind of where I see myself, financially stable, happy, and loving life.
I love it. Yeah, I love that so much. And I could recommend a million books that corroborate this piece of advice, but I highly recommend getting a journal if you don't have one, and journaling about what you visualize your life to look like or how you want it to look in a few years or in 6 months. And I think what you'll find is that when you have crystal clarity about anything and you desire that thing with crystal clarity and have confidence that you are going to achieve it, you'll be blown away by the things that you're able to achieve just solely by writing it down and solely by wanting it. So, and we're going to come back to this later on in the boot camp, but yeah, keep those notebooks handy. All right. So my favorite topic is always mindset. And that is so, it goes so hand in hand with personal brand. And there are so many, these are some of the most common limiting beliefs, self-limitations that we place on ourselves, especially at this stage when you're new and still clarifying who you are as a brand and who you are as an online, like a content creator, an online business owner. So number one, I can't affect this change. I can't change from who I am now to where I want to get to. I just can't. I'm not capable enough. I'm not competent enough. I just can't for whatever reason. Another common limiting belief is the locus of control is external rather than internal. So what that means is like the location of the control is outside of myself. So I don't control what happens in my life. Things happen to me rather than I make things happen. So, and if that were true, none of us would be here, because if we don't have control over things, if they just happen to us, if we truly believe that, we would just sit on our couch all day and not try to improve ourselves, not try to learn anything new, and just wait for whatever was going to happen. So we know that we, to an extent, have control and influence over things. So I just want to throw that out there. If you have that thought of, I can't, or something outside of yourself is keeping you from something, really look at whether or not that's true and reframing that belief. Kind of in line with the first bullet point. I don't think I'm capable of becoming the person that I need to be to do this. And what I tell people is, so here's an example. The first TikTok video I created was terrifying. I was sweating. I recorded it 10 times and it was still trash. It was awful. And it was such, like, my heart was pounding. I was shaking. It was such an emotional experience. Sheila's laughing because she's like, yes, preach. But what ended up happening is, like, now I can post a TikTok in my pajamas, don't care about how I look. And it is like breathing. It's just not a big deal. It's more of like, oh, okay, I need to post a TikTok video. And if you look objectively at posting a video on TikTok, it's literally a series of pushing buttons on your phone. The job or the process, the task of posting content didn't get easier. It's not like TikTok put in new features to, like, make it easier to create content and push that post button. I got better. I developed into someone that was more confident, more willing to put myself out there and be vulnerable. I became a better version of me. And so the tasks themselves that we're taking on as entrepreneurs and as we are building our personal brand, the tasks themselves don't get easier. We get better. And so I think that's really cool and really exciting that we get to witness our own self-development and our own, like, building confidence. You can be terrified of posting content and it will get better. You will get better and it won't be so scary. And that's really cool that we have that control over who we are and what we can do in our own lives. I'm not an expert. I haven't achieved a major transformation. Therefore, no one will care what I have to say. I think I better see people nodding and raising their hands, because I know this is probably the most common thing that people say. Well, why would people want to listen to me? I'm not an expert. I haven't made $1 million. I haven't lost the 50 pounds. There's a gal my sister was telling me about on Instagram. Her name is Instant Loss. I think that's what her name is. I'm going to talk to you guys about it on Friday. She started creating content on Instagram when she was at her heaviest. She hadn't achieved that transformation. She was at her heaviest. She was at her unhealthiest. And she decided, I'm sick of this and I want to make a change. So she started documenting her weight loss journey. And what happened is now she has, 100 and something thousand followers. She has a little blue check mark on Instagram, which is a big deal. And she has this rabid community of followers, not because she came on the scene perfect and polished and had all this weight loss and everything like that. She didn't have her stuff together. She documented her journey from being that person everyone can relate to, being overweight and a little bit depressed and but also sick of the situation that she was in. And that was the catalyst for her. And where she is now, she documented that process from going from here to where she is now. And even along that journey, she regained 20 pounds and then talked about that, because that's a very real and very relatable thing for most people. We regain weight or we have a little backslide in our business, whatever the case is. But her being vulnerable and sharing that just endeared her to her followers even more, because she was willing to be raw and real and vulnerable with them. So if you hear anything from this week, let it be this. You don't need to achieve that transformation that you are starting on this journey today, or that you started when you started creating content. You don't need to be the millionaire. We all started from 0 followers. We all started broke or wanting to make more money or wanting to lose weight or whatever that transformation looks like. But you're capturing and you're documenting that journey. And that is part of building a personal brand, is doing that, capturing your journey to becoming that person that you want to become. That's building the personal brand. It's not, oh, well, I want my brand to be luxury. And no, that's not it at all. It's being your real authentic self on your journey from where you are now to becoming the you that you want to be in 5 years. Does that make sense? Trevor said it perfectly. It's the strength of your message, nothing to do with physical appearance. Yes, 100%. And as someone, like, speaking of my sister, just a quick side note, and I don't want to get too caught up, but I have to share this. My sister, so I'm a middle child. That should tell you a lot. My older sister, beautiful, gorgeous, valedictorian, homecoming queen. Like, everyone loved her. I was always Alyssa's little sister, and well, I don't want to go too much off on that tangent, but it's like, I always had a complex about that. Like, I was like, well, what about me? I'm not as pretty. I'm not as smart. I'm not as whatever, but I'm still here. And so as someone who has had that complex her whole life, if I can overcome having the most gorgeous and perfect older sister, and I can still throw myself out there and create content, I'm confident that all y'all can do it. You know, it, like Trevor, going back to what you said, has nothing to do with our physical appearance. You can look as tore up as you want. And if you're delivering gold nuggets and gems, people will listen to what you have to say. All right, moving on. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we move on?
No questions.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to talk about this really quick. So if you struggle with those self-limiting beliefs or any others, I just want you to hear this. You don't need to be, go from, I can't do it, I absolutely can't, I'm too scared, to, oh, I got this, this is easy, piece of cake. You don't need to do that overnight. That's not what I'm asking. And that's definitely not how it works. It's teeny tiny baby steps toward progress, right? The first step is developing the willingness. That is like so critical. You can develop the willingness, just like the openness to the belief that you are able to change and grow and learn new skills. You can be willing to commit to consistent action and take radical responsibility for your results. Radical responsibility means, okay, this content didn't do great, meaning it didn't get a lot of views or engagement. Don't take that to mean I suck, I should quit, I'm not cut out for this. Don't take it like that. Take that as feedback from your market and use that and iterate and improve your content or change it, try different and new things. So that's radical responsibility, not saying, oh, the algorithm hates me or I'm shadow banned. No, radical responsibility means take the action that you can take to influence the outcome that you want to have. You could be willing to step outside of your comfort zone and do things that feel scary or uncomfortable or vulnerable. And I'm telling you guys from personal experience, not just with affiliate marketing, not just with online business or content creation, in life, when you are willing to step outside your comfort zone and do things as an act of faith and make yourself vulnerable and take calculated risks, that's where everything happens that's good in life on the other side of that discomfort. And remember, like I was saying, you are in the process of transforming into that better version of you, and you are documenting that process. Again, you don't have to be perfect, and you shouldn't be. Like, nobody wants to see perfect. People want to see real humans that are, you know, like, we love the underdog story. We love the rags to riches story. People want to see that transformation. And so just take where you are and move toward that better version of you. Going after the scary stuff and where the rewards are is where the rewards are. Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a quote by Joseph Campbell that I love. I actually carved it in the wet cement out back a few years ago. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. That's like one of my favorite quotes. Carol's like, so who are you and what do you want to be known for? That can be things like your tone. So do you want to be known as like sarcastic or dramatic or warm or energetic? What feels authentic to you? Your personality, that could be things like being compassionate, being humorous, down to earth, etc. What are the values that you want to convey in your content and as your personal brand? These are some of mine. So growth, the idea that everything is a skill that can be learned and improved, a sense of purpose. Why are we here on this earth? A sense of freedom. That's not just financial freedom, but time freedom, decision freedom, being of service to others, helping lift other people up. So those are some of my values. And when we talk more about content creation and how you can convey your sense of self and your personal brand in your content, it's important to clarify that you are building your character, not a character. And so what that really means is, again, we're, capturing our journey, starting from where we are now, our true authentic selves. So, for me, when I first started creating content, I kind of looked like a deer in the headlights. But I knew I wanted to become more confident. I wanted to be an authority. I wanted to be different and kind of stand out from other people. And so that meant learning and developing skills, learning more about content creation, like what's a good hook? What's a good call to action? What's like the feeling that I'm pursuing? The one that doesn't make me feel kind of sick to my stomach, like this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel like aligned with who I am. But what's the kind of content that I create and I feel good about it, regardless of how many views it gets? So building your character, meaning identifying the parts of yourself that you want to improve, that you want to change, that you want to, again, whether it's being more confident or being a better public speaker. Those are the things that you're building, and you're not building a fake version of you. You know what I mean? So that I just want to differentiate between building your character as a person and not a character, like you're putting on a facade. And so what your homework will be, part of what your homework will be, is identifying what is the better or the best version of yourself that you want to grow into while still honoring who you are and where you are currently in your journey. Because again, if you think of building your personal brand as here's where we're starting, and we're going to take this upward trajectory up here in terms of our personal growth, development of skills, development of our income, development of our business, we want to be really clear about, okay, this is my starting point. This is like what I'm measuring against, and this is where I want to get to. Now, how do I bridge that gap? What are the things that I have to learn? Whether it's skills, whether it's more patience and compassion in dealing with people in TikTok comments, whatever that looks like, that the first steps are identifying where we are and then where we want to get to. We also are going to identify our client avatar. Again, that's taking our whole target audience, like the really specific group of folks that we want to serve, and boiling that down to one person. That is our avatar. So who is that person and why do we want to help them? And here's a huge hint, a huge piece of advice that I wish I would have known earlier on in my journey, is our avatar is 99% of the time a previous version of ourselves. And the reason being is we are best positioned to help someone like us. And so by that, I don't necessarily mean, some girl with glasses that wears her pajamas all day, has her hair back. Like that stuff is less important. That's kind of like the outside stuff, the external, like demographics. And demographics can, like age, gender, location, income, that kind of stuff can be relevant. But what's more relevant in selecting our avatar is psychographics. And psychographics are like the psychological demographics. Like, what are the things that keep our avatar up at night, staring at the ceiling, rolling over in bed, can't get comfortable because they're stressed? Psychographics are like the why. Remember, we connect with people based on an emotional why level. So what are the things that our avatar has in common with our why? So like I said, for me, I feel so strongly that we are put on this earth. I'm put on this earth with a sense of purpose. I'm here to grow and be of service for others. And I want to find people that connect with that mission. Carol is like cheesing it up over there. I love it. And so another thing is with our avatar being a previous version of us. So like think of when I think of myself a year ago, before I discovered affiliate marketing, I was disenchanted with life. I was stressing about money. I was irritated that I had to go to work every day. And I could just kind of see my life from a 30,000 foot perspective. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that this is who I was and what I was becoming. And so I'm very in tune with what those pain points, problems, fears, and roadblocks are that me a year ago has. That's my avatar. And so I can really speak to what those pain points, fears, roadblocks, and pain points, problems, fears, and roadblocks are, because that used to be me. So I know intimately, I can tell you the conversation that's going on in that person's head because I've had that conversation in my own head 1,000 times. And I'm paraphrasing this really famous quote about marketing, but when we can enter the conversation that's already going on in our prospects' minds and use that tribal language and use the kind of describe or articulate the problem better than our prospect, they will assume that we are an authority because we're using that language that they use to describe their problems. So this is, again, some homework, identifying your client avatar. It's going to go really in depth with helping you walk through who that person is, what their life is like, what are the problems that they have. Because it's, as affiliate marketers, as online business owners, whether you're promoting someone else's product or you are doing market research or promoting your own product, we need to identify those really painful problems and pain points that our avatar has, because that's where the solutions can be the most impactful. So those really painful, really taxing problems and pains that our avatars have, that's where we can provide the solutions. And people are like, oh, heck yeah, she knows exactly what I am talking about. She has the solution. I'm going to go with her. And really being able to plug into your avatar's current situation, which is, I'm having this financial difficulty, this relationship difficulty. These things are stemming from this problem that I'm having. And I am seeking to get away from that negative experience, those negative outcomes, and to my desired outcome, which is more money, more freedom, losing weight, whatever it is. And something else I want to point out is the current situation. Again, think of this pinpoint here on this graph and the desired situation, our ideal self. That's the transformation that we are seeking to achieve. And then we can turn around to our past selves and be like, hey, I've gone from here to here. I'm not fully up here yet, but I've gone from this baseline to here, and I can help you get to where I'm at because I've already done it. So just keep that simmering in the back of your mind as you are doing this homework. And how can you serve? And we are right on time-ish. A lot of people, I think, and not to make broad generalizations about an entire group of people, but I think women especially, we think that we don't have any unique qualifications or anything that makes us special. And again, it's a blanket generalization. It's not always true of everyone. And it is not just true of women. It's also true of some men. But I want you to think about your past experiences, jobs you've held, problems you've overcome. For example, I mean, I'm pretty much an open book about this, but like addiction and alcoholism is a part of my story. And honestly, overcoming that stuff makes me uniquely qualified to help people, not just who are in recovery or who are battling addiction, but who are struggling to do anything that they feel like is hopeless and impossible. Like to make a change from being in active addiction to getting out of that and being in long-term recovery is a powerful set of new habits. And so that can apply not just to recovery, but to business, relationships, whatever. Think of expertise that you have. It could either be learned, meaning you took a course or you took a training or you went to a boot camp, or expertise that you earned, meaning that you learned through experience and learned by doing. It can also be credentials, so degrees, certifications. That could be college. That could be some certification that you got, like Google Ads specialist. It could be anything. Soft skills, leadership, verbal communication. Soft skills are things that aren't like connected to like a particular task, like Microsoft Excel. That's like more of a hard skill. A soft skill is something that, how would I define it? But do y'all know what I mean when I say soft skill versus hard skill? I'm struggling to think of a great definition. There we go. It's more subjective. Very good. Subjective and not so much measurable or not objective. It's not something where you could clearly check a box and say, oh yeah, you either did it, you either know how to use Excel proficiently or you don't. There's not a test for it per se. And maybe most importantly, this is something I really want to highlight, and this is probably going to feel vulnerable to a lot of us, but what are the things that you consider weaknesses or struggles or vulnerabilities? And I want you to really be honest with yourself, and you don't need to plaster it out all over the group. And, if it's something you struggle with currently, or if you feel really vulnerable about it, that's okay. Acknowledge it, acknowledge it in yourself first. And I want you to think about how you can turn that mess into your message. Like I said, for me, I've been so broke, and I'm obviously not proud to admit this, and obviously have made some amends. But I've been so broke that I had to steal food for my cat. I've done some pretty messed up things in relationships. Obviously being a recovering alcoholic and addict, I've done a ton of stuff that I was not proud of. Some of that stuff was very illegal, but that's not who I am anymore. And that's the most important thing. But on top of that, I've learned so many things from those experiences that it's not like I have to look back at that time with shame. I can look at it and be like, wow, look how much I've grown. Look what I can offer people. Look what I can share my story with others and give them hope, or allow them to see a real normal person, that they can achieve something like what I have achieved. And so that's what's really powerful. And if y'all haven't read Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, you owe it to yourself to read that book. All right. And raise your hand if you've ever heard of the Enneagram, or your Enneagram personality type. Ooh, y'all are in for a treat. Paulette says, yeah. What are you, Paulette?
ENFP.
You what?
The ENFP.
Oh, the Myers-Briggs. Yeah, that's Myers-Briggs. What?
Did I give you the wrong one?
Yeah, but you said ENFP. I see that.
Yeah, that's all I know.
I like it. So the Enneagram, I'm not going to go super in depth, but what I want you to do is you'll click this link and you're going to read through there are 9 different personality types, and you will read through each of them. It'll probably, I don't know, maybe take 3 to 5 minutes to read each of them, but you will know which one is yours because you will feel personally attacked because it is calling you all the way out. I'm a 4. So just as a frame of reference, when you get to number 4, but there's a quiz that you can take. Don't take the quiz. Go through and just read the personality types, and you will feel, oh, that is me. And you'll feel personally attacked, especially if you're a 4, because we 4s tend to feel personally attacked by the Enneagram. But what you will start to take note of is, what are the characteristics and traits that are prevalent for you? As an example, like I said, I'm a 4. That's the individualist. That's like the type. But I have a tendency to think that everything revolves around me. And this isn't necessarily, the written in there in these words, but this is just like some things I'm going to share with you that I identify with. So nobody understands me because I am so unique, and so that's something that is prevalent for me. That's kind of like more negative, maybe. But there are also prevalent things like I'm highly creative. But basically you're going to go through and identify what those things are that really stand out for you, that you're like, yeah, this is me. These are like some of the great things about me. These are some of the things that I would like to work on. And really you're going to use that information to identify, okay, what are the specifics of what is needed to become the higher version of me, the better version of me that I'm on this journey to become. You're going to identify what those new traits or new characteristics are. And then you're going to create basically like an index of habits and behaviors to help expedite that growth. All right, perfect. So I just want to show you guys this really quickly. So about resonance, and that's something that you'll hear like, oh, that really resonated with me, or their content resonated, their message resonated. We put out, and it sounds hippie or however you want to call it, but we put out the vibe. We set the tone through our content, through who we are and how we live. And that's going to attract folks who vibrate with that same frequency. And if that's not one of the most powerful reasons to create a personal brand, you want to attract folks that resonate with your why and they resonate with who you are. And that's what happens when we are really clear about who we are and where we're going. We get to figure out who we want to attract based on our content. Is that not exciting? It's like, maybe I'm just a big old nerd, but I think that's amazing. And there's a saying in AA, excuse me, there's a saying in AA that we believe in attraction rather than promotion. And I'm not saying don't go out and promote products if you're an affiliate marketer. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is we will attract people by who we are. And we don't need to go run up in people's faces and be like, hey, I'm a good person. This is my why. Listen, that will become apparent. When you're speaking from a place of authenticity and truth, that will come across so clear. And that will be the most impactful content that you can create, is from that place of authenticity and clarity. And that will attract your folks, your tribe that's going to be obsessed with you. Do we have any questions before I set you loose and show you the homework and where to save it? I know that was a lot, and it took me a little bit longer than my timed practice round, but
Am I going to need another round of therapy after this?
Oh man, I was just telling somebody this today on a call. I was like, dude, entrepreneurship is like an accelerated form of therapy, but at least we get paid, but it's like all that self-doubt and the self-limitations and all those negative beliefs. It's like, we have to push through it in order to grow, not just ourselves, but our business, and how to achieve that outcome that we want to achieve, like quitting our 9-to-5 job or making that extra money to send our kids to school or pay off debt or whatever it is. And that's like so magical, really, that we can kind of, instead of trying to find the root of the problem, like, what birthday clown jumped out and scared us when we were 4, instead of doing all that, we get to do it from the top down, which is like, okay, I'm going to smile first and then feel happy second,
Awesome.
Is this already in the Google Drive?
No, I will be putting the slides in there right now. And actually, so I'm going to share my desktop with you, or my screen. Okay. So for example, I just want to show you all this real quick and then I will set you loose. So if I open this, can you see this identify your client avatar worksheet?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So what I want you to do, you'll open it, you'll go file, make a copy, and then you'll save it to your own drive. That will make it so you can actually edit the document. So you'll click OK. That will open it in your own Google Drive. And then you can go in and, give your avatar a name, Betty. What do they look like, etc.